Welcome to the True Wealth Podcast, where happiness is more often found in the soul of someone's wealth rather than the size of it. Money, after all, is a tool. It's not the destination. Money is the fuel to advance your core values and your purpose. Join us as we share some inspiring stories, true wealth life lessons, and practical strategies to help you design a life of intention, generosity, and fulfillment. Welcome to the True Wealth Podcast, episode 001.
Let's go.
Take 5. No, 001. This is Kevin Engbers, certified financial planner, wealth advisor, author, and host of the True Wealth Podcast. It's an honor to introduce you to my two co-hosts today. First off is the Alphabet Credential King, Mr. Nik Aamlid, certified financial planner, certified advisor of philanthropy, certified kingdom advisor, and wealth advisor. And like I say,
totally certifiable. Wow.
Certifiably something. That's,
there are people out there.
Finest.
There are people out there that have more credentials behind their name, but you know, in my opinion, and I am the world's authority on my opinion, you're one of the great ones. So it's great to have you as a co-host.
Yep, good to be here.
We would be remiss if we didn't introduce the third ambassador of True Wealth, certified financial planner, certified kingdom advisor, and wealth advisor, Ryan Ovenden. Welcome, guys. This is it. This is inauguration day. There we go. This is it. It's time for the
Can't wait.
True Wealth Podcast. So it's exciting. Episode number 1. But here's the big question. By the way, I brought in cupcakes with single candles to celebrate this deal.
Good. I'm hungry.
They were so good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to share them with you, but
That's where that was going.
Neither of us saw those cupcakes.
They were good. Next time, I'll make sure you get one. But it is exciting.
So
episode number 1. And I think to make them unique, we should have a question of the day. What are we trying to focus on? So here's my first question. How many podcasts do you think there are? So why have another one? But how many podcasts do you think there are on money, life, finances, wealth?
I wouldn't even have a guess because there's so many out there. And I think we all listen to many of the podcasts, maybe, I don't know, tens of thousands.
Yeah. They say hundreds of thousands when I did the search.
Hundreds.
They don't have a number. It just says hundreds of thousands.
Seems like a lot of podcasts floating around out there.
Well,
Have you
I
listened to all of them?
I did ask how many were registered, and the number came up also on 100% certainty, but it was somewhere between 3.5 and 4.5 million podcasts.
Can I get more letters after my name if I commit to listening to all of them?
Well, I don't. You need to. We'll talk about that.
Okay, perfect. All right.
So let's go back so why have one? So I think we should answer really every one question that has a lot of other questions behind it. I'd kind of like to answer the 5 W's. So who, what, where, when, why, and of course we normally always start with why. So why have another podcast? Why would this one be unique? So for the listener out there, we want to help them understand what's in it for me. What's the benefit to me? So how would you describe that, Nik?
Yeah, I guess as we talk about it, so many of them out there are focused on the accumulation side, the technical side of money. There are a ton of money podcasts out there, and a lot of them are great, and offer some solid ideas and advice. But to me, it's good to dig a little deeper. And I think our goal has always been to sort of stand in that gap of there's got to be some more meaning behind this. And so as we look to do this podcast, can we differentiate it in the sense that we're not necessarily trying to encourage people and inspire them to accumulation. We're trying to inspire them towards purpose and understanding and using what they've been given to accomplish a purpose.
So would it be safe to say, although it involves money, it's not solely about money. So it's really not. Well, we'll talk about accumulation, I'm sure, but it's less about accumulation, more about alignment.
There you go.
Would that be a good statement?
Yeah. And I would say more about this idea of purpose than the idea that we're trying to give you some technical advice on what to do with your finances. This isn't meant to be an Excel spreadsheet. It's not going to be, the Dave Ramsey shows out there where you call in and you have a specific question and he gives you a specific answer. I don't think that's our purpose. Our purpose is to understand that all of us have a number of puzzle pieces in our own financial plans that need to be put together. And it's our goal as financial advisors to help put those pieces together in a way that helps you to see bigger purpose behind the money, because as we'll talk about a lot in this podcast, money is not a destination. Money is a tool, and it's to be used for a bigger purpose. So what is that purpose?
Yeah, and you're right. Most of the podcasts out there are about accumulation. How do I get one up on my neighbor? How do I get more? Because they think that more solves it. And really, some of the most unhappy people that I've run across over my number of years of doing this, it isn't about money. You know, I remember early on when I actually went through the True Wealth Institute, just to learn more about it, because it was something that I was very passionate about and I was very motivated about it. But this gentleman was sitting there, and he had a significant net worth. And when we asked the question, now what? I mean, he said, there has to be more to life than this. And he was about ready to retire. He had accumulated significant wealth, but he was at the end of life and just really felt like, you know, he was so focused on the accumulation that he really missed life. And that's also why I've often said, it's not what you make, but what you do with what you make. And really, it's finding meaning and purpose. And we'll unpack that more about what true wealth means. So let's expand this back a little bit more. You know, there is so much information out there, way more than what we've had historically. You know, and I said this earlier. You know, you think back in the 60s, when Elvis was on the Ed Sullivan Show, what it took to live then. People have accumulated so much more money, but they're not any happier. They're probably less happy. You don't have to go very far where you can tell people are anxious, they're frustrated, and they just, again, think more money will do it. So really the format is we want to provide more insights into the soul of wealth, right? Would that be a good thing? What other topics, things? I mean, it's all going to kind of stem out of true wealth, because there are 4 pillars, really, basically that. Because really, when we're talking about true wealth, we're not talking about true money wealth. Really, there's true financial wealth, there's physical health, there's mental health, there's spiritual health. And certainly in some of those areas, they're beyond our area of expertise. So we're going to have to bring in some outside people to talk about those content. We will focus mostly on our areas of expertise, which is more on the financial aspect. But the interesting thing is, money really makes it all work. So certainly having money affords you the opportunity to do more things than not having it, but that in and of itself does not provide happiness.
Yeah, but what you said too, that, you know, you look at the number of people that walk around anxious, depressed, and just not filled with joy.
Right.
And we talk a lot about the goal of walking people towards this life confidently enjoyed. And, you know, you can focus on the confidence piece, you know, which is important, and you can focus on that enjoyed piece, of which the core word is joy. And, you know, I always say I spent 8 years in the nonprofit development world, and some of the most joyful people that I've ever been around in my life are the ones who are the most generous. Right. And that's very that's very anti what our culture would tell you, that this idea that parting with dollars can bring joy to your life. So there's got to be something more to it than just more.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, some of the most anxious and frustrated and stressed people are the ones who have the most and are the least generous with it. So there's something there,
Yep.
you know, to this idea. And I think that to me is what I'm excited to unpack.
So the why is pretty clear. It's going to be different and unique. But a little bit further than that, so why do this? Why is this important to you? I mean, for me, it's kind of full circle. I started off teaching a 6-week adult education class way back when people would go to those. Now, people don't have the time. They don't want to commit that much time. And we covered what are stocks, what are bonds, and we will do some of that. But it's really, again, as questions come up, I guess I would say more. Now, as I'm getting more towards the end of my career, I just need something to do. So if I look at retirement, I can fish, but that's not everything I want to do. So I want to get back in a different way. We're going to build out, my goal and vision is to build out other educational resources through extension of our website, this podcast, both visual and audio versions, just to try to give people more access, but they can do this on their time. we want to have fun with it, because the last thing you want to do is listen to some boring meeting for a long period of time or a topic. So let's talk about that too. What we talked a little bit about what topics would be covered. What's the format going to be like?
Well, can I jump in? One of the bigger whys too is, and I think we want this to be less about technical, technical choices that you do with each of your puzzle pieces, and more to do with hearing other people's stories.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the benefits that we hope to give to you as the listener is to allow you to see into a day in the life that we get to enjoy, and hear our clients share their stories of what they've done well and what they've done poorly, and to share some of their insights that might help you to be a better steward with your resources as well. And so I think one of the things I'm most excited about that we can offer that maybe other podcasts can't is we've met with thousands of different people that have unique individual stories that we want to share with you, so that you might pick up a nugget here and there that might help you to be the best steward that you can be of the resources that you have. So between Kevin, sharing his own wealth of knowledge, 38 years in the business, and Nik and I sharing, our lesser experience, but we've all had different clients with different experiences. We want to bring those to light. We want to have clients on sharing their stories, because we know that their stories are powerful and impactful, and might even impact you as an individual to be a better steward of your assets. So that's a big
One of
part
the exciting things about being an advisor is there is not a one size fits all.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, everybody's unique. And it doesn't really matter if you have 5,000, 50,000, 500,000, 5 million, 50 million. It's a lot of the same problems and a lot of the same struggles, but there's not a one size fits all. So each person's puzzle is really as individual as their thumbprint. And the goal is to try to help figure out what their thumbprint needs to look like, what their picture of their puzzle needs to look like, and then give them the tools to help.
Well, at the end of the day, money can either control you or you can control it. There's really no other way to approach it. And so, if you let it control you, that leads to a very negative,
Yes.
aspect in life. But grasping the control of it and using it as a tool to guide you in the purpose that you have in life can be a powerful experience for people.
So we I guess we narrowed down why we feel it's important, why we think it's unique. We've talked a little bit about the format. How long? Some podcasts that are out there are 2-3 hours. At my age, I can't stay up that long.
Well, if it's the three of us bantering around, you never know.
Well,
It's gonna get long, yeah.
there is an edit button which makes this work, but what's your target? So what do you think?
I'd say probably drive time would be a great one. For me, my family and I live out in Brandon. It takes me 25-30 minutes to get to work. So when I listen to a podcast, if I can finish it during my drive, that's awesome. And I don't have to wait to cliffhanger.
Yeah, we don't want to make you sit in your garage for too long, getting the conclusion
glare.
of what we said. Yeah.
Well, let's not use my drive time, because I could be here in 2 minutes. I got a short walk.
A half hour to get to work. We got problems.
As long as the parking lot's not icy, I can be here fast. But so I think that's fair. Drive time, maybe since I like food a lot, it could be making a good omelet about the same kind of a time. So half hour omelet, not an omelet, a good omelet.
Takes you a half an hour to make an omelet?
Hey,
I'm making them wrong.
Yeah.
Mine don't taste very good.
It's the time. But anyways, let's figure that. 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes at the top side. And if we're going to go longer than that, I think we just, because there's going to be some topics we get into, or certain guests I just know are going to, they've got more things to share than a half hour. So we'll break it out into multiple shows. But I think that should be the target.
The guest thing is a good point too, though, that, we love sitting around bantering with one another. And that's honestly gives me some of the most joy that I have in a day, is just sitting around talking with you guys, listening to you guys, gleaning wealth from you. But we don't have a wealth of knowledge in every aspect of the topics that'll come to this podcast. So we'll have guests on, once in a while, which will be great. Maybe it's the three of us. Maybe we'll have other people from the office. So there'll be a lot of different.
It could be where one of us is having a guest on. It could be two are sharing a guest. We could be interviewing each other. It could just be a single person or two of us. That'll change from show to show. So sometimes they will not have to put up with me, and other times, they may have to. So, all right, that's good. Let's see. How about how frequent? How many episodes? We're going to do one a day, please. No.
365.
No. What should be a good target to start? What do you think?
I think we agreed on 2 times a month is what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
So
Maybe we can even get specifics that we'll try to release them on these 2. We'll see how this goes, but yeah, let's target 2 a month. If the demand and topics warrant it, we would add shows certainly, but
We're going viral.
yeah, you don't want the listeners to say, well, are they on? Are they not on?
Yeah.
So we'll try to let's limit it to 2 a month to start. That sounds fair. Who are the target listeners and the viewing audience? Who will that be?
I guess I'm going to go back to this whole idea of the joy thing, that if you feel like you've hit a point in your life where, and let's be honest, by the world's standards, if you live, around here, you probably are considered wealthy. There is enough. If you feel like there's enough there, but yet there's just something missing, you're not joyful. There's stress, there's anxiety. There's probably something missing in the approach that you've taken to this whole idea of managing resources. I would say if that's you, this is for you,
Right.
And so it's more about the philosophical side than it is any sort of demographic in my estimation.
Yeah. And it can be maybe it isn't the money side that has you anxious, but it could be your physical side. That's one of my challenges, and I'm hoping that we can identify, and if the listeners know of someone that we could bring in a guest, I wouldn't mind kind of going through a diet challenge or
Sure.
How do I improve my physical health? Because that's what gives me the anxiety, because it takes a lot of money to support that. When you're not healthy, either through medications or if you want to be healthy and you want to eat right, you're eating organic or you're buying exercise equipment, that takes financial resources. So it's woven through all that. It may be spiritual health. And again, we're going to need to bring in some experts to just talk through that. But what about demographics? So beyond their physical side of things, what are your thoughts there?
Well, and I think the who this is for, going back to the puzzle analogy, I mean, whether you have a kid's puzzle that has 16 pieces and looks pretty easy to put together, or you have a 1,000-piece puzzle, I think this is for people who want to say, okay, no matter how many pieces I have in my puzzle, no matter how complex my financial situation, there's got to be a bigger purpose to all of these puzzle pieces.
Yep.
We want to align our purpose with our wealth, and that's why we're here.
Well, I think going back to true wealth is not a destination. Sometimes I have said it that way, a life of true wealth, like we're going to get you there. To me, true wealth needs to be lived out loudly every day. And there's so much that's involved with that. And it's not age restrictive. I mean, it's not like, okay, I'm 40, like bring on this true wealth thing. It starts as early as teaching someone after they're born, and we'll uncover that a little bit more. We have certain stages of life. We'll have topics just around that. What should you be learning when you're 0 to 10 or 11 to 20, or what should a couple, and when you get couples or partners together who come from different backgrounds, that can be challenging. So we want to help navigate some of those challenges for the 21 to 30-year-olds. So there's a lot of topics that we can cover, but we'll unpack in a future show too what this true wealth means, and how to live it out every day. So I think we've identified our target audience. We're going to kind of show probably every 2 weeks if we can, or 2 times a month. We know the demographic is anybody who is breathing air, right?
Yeah.
Fog and mirror.
Yeah.
If you're fog and mirror, this show is for you. So that, we've got a broad audience. I guess I'd like to challenge, today's sponsors. I don't know if I told you this. We have his name is Anonymous.
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 I
Yeah.
know them.
So now we broke the silence. Now everybody knows who they are. But anyway, if you'd like to be a sponsor of the show, I'll share some corporate sponsorships that are lining up. But if you really would like to sponsor it in a non-financial way, just click subscribe, and we'll give you a shout out. Maybe we'll just limit the first names for confidentiality purposes. So I think next show is going to be sponsored by Ed. I'll just introduce you to Ed at some point in time. But if you'd like to sponsor, click on the like, share this with your friends. So thanks for joining us today. We'll cut this one, kind of wrap this up here. Thanks for joining us on today's first episode of the True Wealth Podcast. If you enjoyed our conversation, and would like to learn more, we'd love to have you subscribe, share it with friends so we can reach more people who want to experience a life confidently enjoyed. Feel free to share your thoughts, and if you have specific questions regarding the soul of your money and true wealth, send your questions to info@pinnaclewealth.com. So that's INFO. Info is pretty easy to spell, right? Pinnacle can screw some people up. PINNACLEWEALTH.com. Send us your questions. Why Pinnacle Wealth? Because the pinnacle of wealth is true wealth. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be back soon. The opinions voiced in today's True Wealth podcast with Kevin Engbers, Nik Aamlid, and Ryan Ovenden are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendation by any individual. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. No strategy assures success or protects against loss. To determine what may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, financial, or tax advisor prior to investing.